welcome to Hancock's VMware Half Hour. And welcome back. So, it's a nice, cool evening, nice and dark. Autumn is certainly here in the UK, which is great. I love autumn. You can squirrel away in your house at night and put the log burning stove on and coochie down or cuddle up. Anyway, so soft drink, espresso, Hancock's VMware Half Hour time. So in tonight's video, we're going to have a little look at Skyline Advisor Pro 3.5, or really what we're going to do, we're going to say goodbye to Skyline Advisor Pro 3.5. And I did a video about this way back in 2023. In fact, actually, it was almost a year ago. 30th of October 2023, I did a video on VMware Skyline Advisor Pro 3.5, which I think I said at the time, I think it's an absolutely fantastic product. I think in that video, I think I always turned around and said that I couldn't believe that this was being given away for free. And as my grandfather always told me, nothing's free in life. Somebody is paying for it somewhere. Well, as by now, I'm sure you would have seen, VMware Skyline Advisor Pro 3.5 goes end of life this week on the 4th of October. So I thought really today that it was only fitting to say goodbye to a good friend, certainly a workhorse that we use an awful lot every day. If you haven't configured or set up VMware Skyline Advisor Pro for your VMware real estate, whether that be VMware vSphere 7 or VMware vSphere 8, it's exactly the same. I'm sorry to sort of kind of say really that it's too late. As I said, it will be terminated. It will be end of life on the 4th of October. So maybe I'll hold back on this video and I'll just sort of kind of wait until the 4th of October and try to log in and see what we're presented with. But for those of you that don't use it, as I've often said before, it's a bit really like having a third-party external consultant sat on your shoulder. There's an appliance that sits in your environment. Here's our appliance here, the Skyline appliance 3.5 on our EE cluster in our EE lab, which is based on VMware vSphere 8. And if you've been following these videos, you will know that we use HPE ProLiant microservers Gen 8s to host this lab. So the Skyline appliance sits on your LAN. It basically is connected into VMware vCenter server. It's connected into vRealize Operations Manager and Log Insight if you have licenses for those, or ARIA, I think we're now calling them, ARIA Operations Manager or ARIA for logs. Takes all that information and it squirts it up to the cloud in VMware land. It analyzes it and it produces findings for you. And we'll go through some of those findings today to show you. And this video really is a little bit of a segue into the next group of videos that I'm going to do. So this is going to be video part 63 of the VMware vSphere 7 how-to series, if you're following that series. If you're following the VMware vSphere 8 series, then it'll be part 58. And then the next video is coming up, basically going to be ARIA Operations Manager Deployment, part 63 or 59. Then we're going to update that version. I'll show you how to update it to 8.18. And it's important that we actually update it to 8.18 because that's where we're going to actually start to find some of the bits that are being moved across from VMware Skyline Advisor into Operations Manager. But Operations Manager has, for the findings, has a prerequisite on ARIA Operations for logs. So part 66, 61, we'll do a video on deploying ARIA Operation for logs. And then we'll do a ARIA Operation for log upgrade in part 67, 62. And then finally, we will finish with VMware Skyline Diagnostics, which is another appliance. I'm not going to say similar to Skyline appliance, but there's another appliance called the VMware Skyline Diagnostics, and we'll look at that in part 68, 63. Wow, so that's what we're going to do. So as I said, those of you that aren't currently using Skyline Advisor, then you've really missed out on one of the best free tools available as part of your support subscription, and it is really too late now. But we'll look at it now one last time to say cheerio, my friend, and goodbye. I've already actually basically started to see some comments from other VMware administrators and VMware vExperts. I think one of the comments I saw today from Rodney was, "It's pants." That's very polite, Rodney. I can think of other comments that are far more ruder, but um, these videos do go out on YouTube and they are made for kids. So I will try to keep the language appropriate. If you know me personally, you know that that is very difficult because I am a little bit of a potty mouth. Anyway, okay, so one of the things that you'll be familiar with if you currently use Skyline is regularly every month you'll get an email that drops into your inbox. As I said, these are going to stop. Basically telling you that your Success 360 Insight Standard Report is available for download. And we get lots of these from various different client sites. So basically, we click the link. I'll do it here now. I've already got the link open here anyway, but we click the link and it will basically log into the VMware Cloud Services if it's not already timed out. Okay, and present us with the insight report. So the latest report for our environment here is September the 15th, 2024. And we're probably not going to get one. I don't know. Maybe on the last day, on the 4th of October, they'll send out a final report and say cheerio and goodbye or something. I don't know. But anyway, so you can clearly see at the top here, it's already reminding us. I'm surprised, to be honest with you, really, that that's not actually in bright red, reminding us that on 4th of October 2024, VMware Skyline Advisor will reach its end of life. The service will be turned off for all customers. Please see. So I'll put this link in the description so that you can, if you don't currently have Skyline, you can have a little look at it. And there's an awful lot of waffle there. What is the status of VMware Skyline? What will happen? You know, it is actually quite interesting that it is being terminated and ended. But at the moment, it clearly actually basically says that, you know, there are some of the features that are being planned for inclusion in future VCF and VVF releases, but not at present. So there will be a gap. I do find that very strange of Broadcom / VMware to terminate a product that is going to leave people hanging until some of these features. As I said, it does actually basically state there that VCF 5.2 and area operations 8.18, sorry. July 2024, critical findings and self-help recommendations will be available in those product directly, and they are. But there are still some bits and pieces that are missing, and it also basically turns around and says, how can I download Skyline Health Diagnostics SHD, which is what I was referring to that we'll do in part 68. I think I called it VMware Skyline Diagnostics, and it actually calls it Skyline Health Diagnostics SHD. That sounds like some sexually transmitted disease. We won't go there. But anyway, SHD, where can I download SHD from? I think I said before in the last video, I do feel for the VMware support engineers because when running Skyline, they almost had an eyeball into your environment because basically it would upload logs, etc., so that if you actually escalated or raised a support call with them, they would be able to see all your logs at hand, which would sort of kind of certainly aid them in that they already have the information to work on. they're not going to have that anymore. So I'm sure Broadcom will work that out and do something. Anyway, so I'll put that link in the description. So let's actually go back to our Skyline Insight report. As I said, this will be familiar to you if you have been using Skyline. But we can just have a quick look at what the findings are currently in our environment. So let's have a little look at our critical findings. So at the moment, basically, it's telling us that we've got 4 critical findings, of which 100%. So let's have a little look at our dashboard. Our collector, the collector basically is a component of the appliance. So our collector is currently healthy, and I can have a little look at that, and it will actually basically tell us that the last successful snapshot upload was 21 minutes ago from our lab, and it's all healthy. So let's go back to dashboard. So let's have a little look at what our critical findings hit here. Okay, so it's actually telling us that NTP time is not currently configured on one of our hosts. That's a bit of a bad. Okay, so that's on ESXi 003. Probably something really that I must have missed. A bit naughty of me, really, but let's actually have a little check. Go to configure, and I was only actually basically answering a question on Experts Exchange. Okay, so yeah, we have no time currently set up. So let's do that now. So I'm just going to basically drop in some time servers. Got that wrong again. Doesn't look right, does it? Doesn't look right to me. Okay, that looks a bit better. I had a trailing space there that I hadn't noticed before the 141 in the first, and that's what caused that problem. But interestingly, I was surprised that I was actually able to submit it. It obviously wasn't actually checking what information is actually being put in those fields. Okay, so that's that finding. If we go back, so we've actually basically fixed that. And how would we have known that we'd actually basically missed a configuration option there, which I think was one of the things that I was actually stressing to. I've had a question the other day, was where their time basically was skewed and off, and which was actually causing them problems. If you had VMware Skyline Pro working for you in your environment, it would actually basically pick that up. So now we can. So now we can select that finding, and we can say hide finding and say hide, or we could have actually basically waited until the next upload and it refreshed, and then that would actually basically disappear. So that critical finding now has disappeared. So let's look at the trivial findings. So we've got a warning that's telling us that Windows 10 and Windows 11 virtual machines, it's recommending to upgrade VMware tools. Okay, so that's another task for us to do. And it's also actually telling us here that one of our hosts, it's not supported. It is not supported to upgrade these ESXi hosts to 8.0, which is a bit of a upgrade blocking. It's a bit odd because it already is running 8.0. That host ESXi 003 is already running 8.0, but it could be it doesn't actually like the processor. And I think that's probably what's been triggered there. And you can generally, you can look at the helpful links as well. I often compared this to a product called Runecast, which is a third-party product, and Runecast were taken over by Dine. I forget the name, but I'll put that in the description. And I often refer to Runecast technology, and Runecast I think has been around for about 10 years. I think quite a while. Certainly it was implemented before Skyline appeared. And I often sort of kind of compared and contrasted the two and turned around and said that Runecast, which is a third-party product which is not free, was like VMware Skyline Advisor Pro on steroids, or it was a Swiss Army knife of tools for your environment. They did a very, very similar thing, but certainly more. So, you know, you could, if you don't have access anymore to VMware Skyline, and you really want something to oversee your environment and check for configuration drift, you could certainly check out Runecast technology, which again is an appliance which sucks in the information from your vSphere environment and squirts it up to the cloud. Okay, let's have a little look. So not too bothered about that one. So so I can actually basically turn around and hide that finding as well. And what maybe we'll do before we come back at the end, so maybe I will come back and add a little bit on to this before the shutdown on the 4th of October, and we'll fix these trivial little issues with the VMware tools. So let's just go back to our dashboard again. My apologies, the Bluetooth service is obviously on the blink again on this machine. So let's have a little look at our moderate problems that we've got here. So quickly, okay, so it's complaining about the vSphere L1T terminal fault, remote logging, which we know about. What else have we got? Does not have vMotion activated. That's HA. Server hardware inconsistency. That's because we've got mixed hardware. This is an interesting one. That it's actually basically reminding us that VMware vCenter 8A is running on a snapshot. Another important thing to spot in your environment. And again, I was only actually dealing with a question on Experts Exchange the other day about snapshot. I'm sort of kind of saying, you know, that you could use VMware Skyline Advisor Pro to warn you of snapshots. You know, so let's have a little look at 8A. That was probably the snapshot that was probably left over. Okay, so there is no snapshot on that, or that, or that. There's a snapshot here, which is B, 8.03B. Let's just go back and check that again. 8A. Okay, so let's just have a little look at the okay, so there is a snapshot. So we will deal with that. We will deal with that later as well. So as you can see, the findings that it's actually basically pulling out from your environment without you having to do anything at all. But sadly, on October the 4th, it's going away. So we have to say goodbye. And we will look at the Area Operations Manager deployment, Area Operations for log, and VMware Skyline diagnostics in the next bunch of videos that I'm going to do. So there's nothing more for me to show you in this particular video at the moment, but I'm going to go away and I'm going to fix some of these, and we will just do a quick follow-up on the 5th or the 4th. Depends when the cutover is, because it doesn't really tell us when on the 4th, whether or not it's going to be midnight, and it doesn't really tell us whether it's going to be GMT or UTC. Anyway, so thanks so much for watching this video. I've got a little bit of work to go away and sort some of these issues out. So anyway, thanks so much for watching, and goodbye.